Do you know what hybrid project management is? Some people call hybridism. You maybe have worked with some predictive approach, also known as traditional or waterfall, or even and have been working with adaptive approach, also known as agile. But in this video, I'll show you the best of these two words. Stay with me. My name is Rogério Manso, and I'll help you to start projecting now. Imagine this scenario. You invited your family, your partner, your husband or your wife to a restaurant. And when you got there, you found that you have some options to sit. In fact, you have some available tables with some options in terms of plates and cutlery. One table, you have only a plate, a fork, and a knife. And in another table, you have a complete set of glasses, cutlery, and plates. Which table will you choose to sit to dinner or to lunch with your family? I think that you're gonna choose the table with the complete set of glasses, cutlery, and plates, because you have more options in terms of what you're gonna choose in the menu. If you just sit in a table with a plate, with a fork and a knife, if, for example, you decide to eat a soup, you don't have a spoon on this table. This is how some organizations face to adopt project management approach, that they have only small options of tools and models. For example, if your company, your organization works with traditional way, they don't have agile methods, tools, and process to adopt and to use. Or if you are an agile organization, you cannot use some traditional. Why not? Why not? You can use the best options, the best tool, the best process to manage your project. This is the big mistake today in the organizations. Let me show you another example. You're going to a camping for a weekend and in the mountains, and you need to choose a tool to take with you. And you have two options. One, it's a single portable knife. You only have a knife. And the second option is you have, for example, a portable Swiss mud tool that you have different tools for different situations. Which tools you're gonna use? You're gonna bring with you in a camping. I'm pretty sure that you're gonna choose the Swiss knife, the mud tool, because you don't know what you're gonna find in your camping, in your environment. So you need to be ready for each situation. And to do this, you need to have some tools available. You cannot just use a knife, for example, if you want to cut something, all right? Or if you want to open a bottle of something, all right? So I understand that sometimes we improvise some tools to do something that is not exactly made for this tool. And this is a big mistake because we miss some productivity. And that's why we think that adopting a hybrid approach in project management is the best way to answer all your needs, answer all scenarios that you have in your project management. So the definition of hybrid project management, it's really diverse. We have different ways to define hybrid project management. One of them says that hybrid project management combines elements of waterfall and agile methodology to make the project management approach. It's okay, I agree with this. The point here is the word combine, okay? Combine sometimes means that you're gonna mix traditional and waterfall to create a new methodology. And this is not exactly my point of view from hybrid project management. Some say that hybrid project management could take any formal methodology and combine with another. Also, it's okay. We understand what they are saying about this, but I think that we can improve this definition. Others say that refers to methods that combine planning strategies from the traditional project management environment with the agile methodology's flexible approach. Okay, again, they use the word combine, okay? Also, we have it's a form of project management that combines, again, multiple management approaches into a single methodology. Combines different aspects of waterfall and agile methodology to craft a process that truly fits your team and project. All these definitions, they are all the time saying that the hybrid project management is something that combines traditional or predictive approach with adaptive approach. But I like another definition that comes from a very good friend that wrote a book called Hybridism. And for the definition of hybrid project management, we call sometimes hybridity or hybridism. It's an approach, a way of thinking and behaving. This is important. You need to change the way of thinking and the way of behave in your organization, which directs to search for maximum customization, adequacy, and adherence to management models and practice to systematically and fully meet the needs of the business. For me, hybridism or hybrid project management, it's more than an approach. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new behavior that organizations need to adopt. So let's discuss a little bit about hybrid project management. The first question is, when we use hybrid project management, what's the scenarios that we could have that it's more appropriated to hybrid project management? The first is when we have projects with mix of stable and evolving requirements. Okay, I will give you at the end of this video an example. So stay with me and you're gonna see exactly what means these two different scenarios when you need something that it's flexible, that it's evolving in terms of the requirements, and something that it's more stable, is more fixed in terms of the requirements. Another situation is when we talk about large-scale projects requiring both planning and flexibility. And here we have a discussing in this domain about scaling agile. Okay, and scaling agile many times doesn't work as expected because they are always trying to put more focus on the agility process than in the predictive process. So most of the time when we talking about big projects, large projects that require many resources and takes a lot of time, cost a lot of money, we must work with some predictability in terms of defining the activities, the resources, and the deliverables. Another scenario is when projects need to meet strict standards while delivering early value. Some projects or some domains, business domains, require some standards, some regulations, some rules that must be followed. Okay, especially if you work, for example, in something in terms of the government or security or projects that are more related to, confidential information or something like this, or that have a huge impact in the society, these projects must follow some restrictions in terms of following standards, following rules, following compliant with some norms and laws. So in this case, we need to also pay attention in terms of this predictability, but at the same time, we need to deliver value early. We need to be fast on delivering value. Another situation is when teams with different preference for predictability and adaptability. I had an experience working in an organization where we have some teams that are more comfortable working in an agile way, and some teams that are more comfortable, more adaptable to work in a predictive way. And when you put these two groups working together, then sometimes you have a problem. If you don't use the right approach, if you don't use the right model to manage these two different groups, maybe you will not be successful. We also have clients who want some structure flexibility. So they want some agility in terms of delivering value, but at the same time, they request some structure planning or some structure forecast or documentation or reports in terms of this project. Clients are at the end the main focus in any project. So we are working to provide value and to satisfy customers and users. And usually they are not really very interested in how you're going to manage the project. They are looking to the results. And sometimes they request some reports, some upfront planning, and some controls that in agility you cannot do these totally flexible. So that's why you need to adapt some predictive and adaptive models, frameworks to answer these customer requirements. But what are really the key benefits on adopting hybrid project management? There are many, okay? I will just list some of the main benefits, but there are many other benefits. And the first one is really flexibility. I think that being flexible today, being able to choose between predictive and adaptive models, you can balance the structure with planning and adaptability. This doesn't mean that you need to have a fixed, detailed upfront planning, but also you can adopt some flexibility, some adaptability in terms of the change of your requirements, and at the same time having your some plan that could answer your project. You can use the best of both worlds. So adopting a hybrid environment, you can use, as you can maybe select some best practice in traditional way, best practice in agile way, and mix and work with these practice. It's like choosing the right tool for what you need. If you need to cut something, maybe you're gonna use a scissor or a knife. Depends on how you're gonna use this tool. So the point here is to really improve your performance, improve your result, improve your the way you work. Okay. Adaptability. So we know that today in now business world, we have always things happening that request that we need to change. Of course, in adaptability process, we have this functionality to adapt, but it's also interesting that at the same time that you adapt quickly, that you also have some control about these changes. Enhanced customer satisfaction. So frequent communication, feedback, incorporation. So all these requirements, these characteristics comes from agile, adaptive, but also when you improve your communication, your reports, your documentation, so you can enhance customer satisfaction. You can increase the communication with your customer. And at the end, improve the project delivery. So your project will provide more reliable outcomes with well-defined stages and iterative development. So we can use the best of both worlds. We can deliver it in short frames, but with some control, with some structure in terms of the project management. How to implement hybrid project management? This is a question that most professionals are asking today. The first point, the first step is really to identify the parts. So you need to identify in your project which parts or which group of activities or which deliverable you can use a predictive approach and which deliverable or which part of your project you're gonna use a hybrid approach or adaptive approach. This is very, very important. In every project, I will repeat this. In every project, you have some activities that can be done in a predictive way, and you have some activities that can be done in adaptive way. In every project, you can identify parts, moments, deliverables of your project that you can better use a predictive and another part that you can better use adaptive. So this is the first time. Identify which part of your project you're gonna adopt a predictive and which part you're gonna adopt an adaptive. The second point is to align these methodologies based on project components, resources, communications, risk management, cost management, schedule management. So you need to align each one of these parts in terms of the project components. How you're gonna manage each part of your project. Third step, communication and integration. For each approach, predictive and adaptive, you have different ways to communicate and to integrate results, tasks, and resources. So you need to constantly discuss with your team, with your stakeholders, your customers, your providers, how you're gonna communicate and integrate these phases, these parts of your project. Because you can change in the middle of, in the execution of your project, some parts could change. For example, they could be in a moment more adaptive. And as you get more information, as you get more detail about this part of your project, you can transform this management in a more predictive way. So you can change, you can adapt your way to managing this part of your project. And of course, you need to communicate and you need to integrate with other parts of your project. Tool selection, very important. Doesn't matter if you're gonna use manage a project, you need to know how to find and to select the tools to help you. Some tools are excellent for predictive, some tools are excellent for adaptive, but not vice versa. Sometimes you need to really identify what's the best tool that will help you to use on predictive and adaptive way. Keep following me on my channel, and I will put in the next weeks a video explaining about tools on hybrid project management. And I'm gonna disclose all options that you have to select the best tool for your project. Continuous improvement. This doesn't matter if you're gonna use adopt a predictive or adaptive hybrid, you need always to keep improving your process, keeping improving the ways you're gonna work, your resources, training your resources, making them more comfortable with this process, with this model. So I know that you have a learning curve in an adaptation process to follow, but as you increase, as you get more experience, as you get more knowledge on working in a hybrid environment, offshore, you're gonna get more results and more value. But let me give you an example how it's a typical project where we're gonna adopt a hybrid management. And this is a fictitious example, okay? Any similarity with reality is pure coincidence, but this example is something that I have some experience managing something very, very similar, okay? And I'm sure that you understand this situation even if you never worked on this domain, okay? So let's see, for example, that you have a bank I called Acme. It's a generic name that wants to create a new mobile app to provide its customer with easy, secure, and user-friendly access to their bank service. This project involves two main components. The first component we called the backend development, which is the development of server-side infrastructure, including all database systems and server-side functions. So the requirements for this component are clear, predictable, and well documented, and must follow some rules, okay? Making it suitable for traditional project management. So to create the backend infrastructure, okay, we can follow a predictive approach. We can define an upfront planning. We can define the resources, and we can have a good plan before starting working on this part of the project. However, we have a second component that we call the front-end development. The front-end development is the user interface and the user experience. And this part is more adaptive. So we need to create an iterative, intuitive, and user-friendly interface for the app. But we don't know the customer, how they will react to this app, this interface. So we need to test, we need to make some, release of this app to test, to get some feedback, to get some comments from the customer. And this front-end development will be adaptable and will be deliverable in increments, okay, that will answer the test. So this component is less predictable, and the team may need to frequently adapt based on user feedback, which makes this component more suitable to an agile approach. So imagine that you are a project manager from this project, and you have two parts of this project. One part that it's easily managed in a predictive way, and another part that you need to adopt an adaptive way. So how you gonna merge these two parts? For example, if you only have Agile or Scrum in your organization, how are you going to develop the back-end development? How are you going to develop an infrastructure using Scrum? Someone will say, hey, Rogério, we do this. We can do this. I understand your point, and I'm sure that you can. But this is not the best tool. The Agile, the Agility, the Scrum was not made for this kind of situation, for this kind of problem. Another way, if your organization only uses a traditional way, a waterfall, of course, the development of the front end will be, not ideal. It's not the best approach. So you need to manage these two environments, these two components of your project. And you need to know what you're going to use as a strategy, as tool, as process, as a framework to manage. And most important, you need to know how to integrate these two components inside your project. And this is how you need to learn about hybrid project management. And in the next video, I will show you how to transition step by step from traditional to hybrid project management, or to agile to hybrid project management. I hope you have enjoyed this content. Follow me on my social medias. If you don't, if you are not following me, click here in the follow button. Give me a like, and you have any comments. If you want to know anything about hybrid project management, leave me a comment, and I'll be more than happy to answer you. My name is Rogério Manso, and I help you to start projecting now.